If you're thinking about moving to St. Simon's Island, you've probably noticed something. There are dozens of neighborhoods to choose from. But here's the thing, locals don't usually think about the island by individual neighborhoods. We think about it by area. So when you call me to work with me as your realtor, I will usually set you up on something called an MLS search, where you're going to get notifications as soon as something pops up within your search parameters. Now that's important to know because the island, well, anywhere really in our MLS is designated by different regions, but the island in particular has a few different regions. So this is important to note. There's the south end of the island, there's the mid-south, there's the mid-north, and then there's the north end. Some are a little bit similar and some are very different, and some you may vibe with more and some you may not vibe with. So the purpose of this two-part series, yes, you heard that right. This is going to be a two-part series. So be sure, subscribe, set an alarm, come back next week, because this week we are going to go over the south end and the mid-south end of St. Simon's Island. And I'm going to show you two popular neighborhoods. We're going to drive through, we're going to walk through. Yes, that's thunder. So we're going to walk faster. I may be finishing this video in my car, but we are going to drive through two very popular neighborhoods, one on the south end of the island and one on the mid-south end of the island, and then come back for next week and we're going to do the exact same thing with two different neighborhoods on the mid-north end of the island and the very far north end of the island. So you definitely don't want to miss these two videos. Today, I'm not going to cover every single neighborhood on the island because there's a lot of different neighborhoods, but I'm going to take you on two popular ones. It'll give you a good feel of those two different regions. So by the end of this video, you'll have a much better idea of which part of the south end or maybe the mid-south island you vibe with a little bit better. So let's get started. We're starting on the south end of the island because this is where so much of the action actually happens on the island. Now, let me just start by saying, if you do not want to be in the hustle and the bustle and the tourism of St. Simon's Island, then the south end might just not be the spot for you, but I'm going to show you some of the major hot spots. Being on the south end of the island means you're close to the pier, the village, which is where there's tons of restaurants, a bunch of shopping, local shops and things like that. Restaurants, the lighthouse is there. Of course, you've got Neptune Park, like I said, restaurants, shopping, community events. So like a lot of the festivals happen right there at the St. Simon's village and pier, and some of the island's most popular beach access points start right here on the south end of the island. So if you want that close proximity to being able to have toes in the sand, then the south end is going to be a highly desirable place for you. So if you enjoy walking, biking, or taking your golf cart around town to breakfast, lunch, dinner, the beach, then this is going to be a highly desirable location for you. So one neighborhood that fits perfectly, that represents this section of the island, is Island Club Retreat. And that is actually where I am walking around today, and I'm going to put a little drive-through tour for you guys so you can see some of the beautiful, amazing homes here. It is an older neighborhood, very well established. The Island Club is a gated community known for obviously its big, beautiful live oak trees that you'll see all over the island here. Very well maintained homes and a quiet residential atmosphere. The one thing I will say, while it is very residential, there are not sidewalks. So if you're like, I absolutely need sidewalks, there's not sidewalks in this neighborhood. And that's one of the things when you guys call me, when you are moving to St. Simon's Island or anywhere in the Golden Isles area, that I love helping my clients with, which by the way, my name's Cassie Long with Horizon Realty, and I help individuals and families just like you relocate here every single day. Seriously, I get calls, texts, emails all the time, and I absolutely love hearing from you guys. So if that is you, pause this video. All my information's here on the screen. I would love to help you make a move. And without further ado, that is one thing that I love helping my clients with, is finding that right neighborhood for them. You know, a lot of people have specific wants and needs, whether that's, hey, I have young kids, I'm pushing a stroller, I've got dogs, I need sidewalks. Like, sidewalks are really important. I can help point you in the right direction towards the neighborhoods that do have sidewalks. This one, beautiful neighborhood, like I said, very well maintained, quiet residential area, but it does not have sidewalks. Okay, so the homes here are primarily single family. They're all single family residences with a mix of traditional and low country styles. And you'll see that as I'm driving through, as you see some of the styles of the homes. And the residents enjoy community amenities like the pool, the tennis courts, and of course, the golf course. So if you are looking for convenience without sacrificing privacy, Island Club is definitely worth checking out. That is one of the biggest things that I hear from my clients here when showing this neighborhood, is that they love that the homes are kind of set back a little bit from the street. It's not overcrowded. There's mature landscaping. You get a little bit of privacy, whereas some of the newer neighborhoods, the homes are pretty close together. Stay tuned. Like I said, we're going to go over some where maybe the homes are a little bit closer together and maybe that's just not your vibe. So that's one of the things that my clients really love when I'm showing this neighborhood is that there's the mature landscaping. You can tell it's an older, well cared for, established neighborhood. And it's the kind of neighborhood where people get into this neighborhood and they stay. Like they just want to retire and live here forever because it is a beautiful neighborhood. It's gated, great location. I mean, it's literally right off Kingsway. When you get on St. Simon's Island, you know how it like forks. You can either go towards Demery or you can go right towards Kingsway. You just keep going and then it's right there on the left. So super great location. Like you're on the south end of the island, but you're not quite all the way in it, like where the Village and Pier is. You're close enough to access it, but you're still just like a little ways out towards the causeway. So, all right, let's get in the car and we are going to check out some other neighborhoods. We are going to head over to the mid-south end of the island and check out another neighborhood. All right, guys, we are going to make it. We're in the car. We're heading there now. It says 11 minutes, and there was also a warning on severe thunderstorm. So let's see if we can get over to the mid-south end of the island to get this filmed. This is about 3.5 miles away. My GPS says it's going to take me about 10 minutes to get there. We just pulled out of the Island Club Retreat neighborhood. So now we're traveling down on Kings Way, and then we're going to come up to the roundabout and we're going to take Frederica Road. So I am going to keep you guys tagging along for this little drive, but I'll probably speed it up so you don't have to watch 8 minutes. But just for reference, it's 4:35 in the afternoon and it is a Wednesday. It is currently the end of July. So this week, noticeably already, I'm noticing that there is so much less traffic on the island because, you know, nobody's really vacationing the last week of July. Everybody's getting ready for school to start. So I was out here the other day showing some clients and it was amazing at the difference in the traffic. So we're going on the roundabout right now. If we would have taken that first exit on the roundabout, that would have taken us straight down to the Village and the Pier, and we could have been there within maybe like 3 to 4 minutes. So if that shows you how close it is, Island Club, how close that is to the Village and the Pier. And now, as you'll see, we're passing the airport here on our right. Very small private airport. So that's one of the things to note, and I'll touch on it when we really get to our next destination and I'm talking to you guys. But that's something to note about the mid-south end of the island, is it is kind of surrounding the airport. Now, the neighborhood I'm going to is a little bit further down, like honestly kind of close to the mid-north end of the island, but it is technically still considered mid-south. I'm also going to show you guys some driving around of some neighborhoods very centrally located in the mid-south end. But that is the airport, and that's a common question we get. How many flights, you know, are the planes loud? It's very minimal. Honestly, anytime I'm out here with my kids, they're very surprised when they do see an airplane. So, and they get very excited. So it's not something that many people that live here are actually concerned with the noise and the traffic of living in your home. All right, so I'm going to have my editor play some music here, and then we're just gonna catch back up if I have anything else to tell you guys while we're driving. Otherwise, enjoy the view. All right, so we're coming up on a very popular roundabout. This is where Frederica Road and Demery Road kind of cross. Demery would be if we went right at this roundabout here, and that could take you down to different beach accesses if you follow it all the way down. Over here to the right, when we get, oh, you know what, I could have been on the outside roundabout. That's okay. All right, and straight across from us is Southern Soul Barbecue, one of the most popular restaurants here on St. Simon's Island. If you've ever Googled St. Simon's, I'm sure you've seen all the various awards that they have won. And so now we're entering in the mid-south end of the island. So Up here on our left, we've got Redfern Village, which is very popular as far as shopping and restaurants. A great spot to just go and walk around. There's a bookstore, there's restaurants, like I said, and shopping. So it's a great spot to take your golf cart up and, just walk around for dinner and everything. There's ice cream over there. And now we're getting into some more businesses. We've got real estate, real estate offices, attorneys' offices, some other mortgage companies and things like that up and down these roads. So we're still traveling on Frederica Road, and we are in the mid-south end of the island, and then it's going to transition into the mid-north end of the island, and then it's going to go into the full north end of the island. So there are neighborhoods up and down this road, and I am taking you to one of the popular ones, although there are many popular neighborhoods up and down this road. I picked one that seems to be a client fave, but as you can see, there is a sidewalk on the right-hand side of the road, and it's a rainy day right now, so you don't see anybody out, but there are usually people biking, walking, running, walking dogs, that kind of stuff. All right, we made it to the mid-south end of the island, parked at the end of the neighborhood. I'm gonna walk and talk with you guys. You can hear the thunder. It was raining on the way here. You can see it's a little dark. So we're gonna jump right in. It's getting a little dark, but I still want my sunglasses on. That's something weird about coastal Georgia. Sometimes it can be a little dark outside, but somehow it's still bright. It's like dark and bright at the same time. And also, I'm not going to complain about the rain because it has been like an insane heat wave here, and I'm talking like 100-degree days, heat index of like 108. So we are taking this as a blessing. Anyway, we are in the mid-south area of St. Simon's Island. So you'll notice that the pace starts to slow down just a little bit. Like as I was driving through, you probably noticed there's a little bit more businesses and things like that. The part of this island has a much more residential feel, whereas like on the south end, the neighborhood we came from felt super residential, but like as you drive more around the south end near the village and the pier, you can definitely see more rentals and vacation and tourism and things like that. As you start to get into the mid-south end, that's where it starts to change just a little bit. There are still plenty of rentals and everything like that, and vacation homes, but it's definitely a bit more residential. And as we work our way, remember next week, as we work our way to the north end, that's where you're really going to see that start to shine as far as primary residences. Okay, so we are still very centrally located, so it's easy to get to the beach. It's easy to get to the pier and the village, the grocery stores, restaurants, and schools without spending, I can hear the rain. We're gonna walk back towards my car. Okay, so you can really get to all of those places without spending a ton of time in your car. And that's one of the things that people love about being right here. You can still take your golf carts. That's a common question we get. Can you golf cart everywhere? I don't know the true rules and laws, but people do golf cart everywhere here on the island. So there are some laws and regulations about that. So definitely look that up so that you are following the regulations. But for the most part, you can drive your golf cart around here on the island. The convenience of this area is great because you're just a little bit out of the south end hustle and bustle. Don't get me wrong, during tourism season, you're still going to be right here on Frederica Road. Sometimes it's just, it's really pouring. Sometimes it's just crazy. We made it. I didn't really envision finishing this in my car. I wanted you guys to see walking through the neighborhood, but you have the drive-through tour. So we are going to do our best to finish this here in the car. I'm going to show you guys, we're in a neighborhood called Shaw's Bounty. So a great neighborhood to really show off the mid-south end of the island. There are a few other neighborhoods that are very similar to this one. So as you'll notice, it's an older established neighborhood, no sidewalks in this neighborhood, very well maintained. There are not any amenities in this neighborhood, but People still love living here because the HOA fees are not high, that kind of stuff, because you're not paying for golf course and pool and tennis courts and those kind of things. So the convenience of this neighborhood is something that clients really love, while also being centrally located, getting on and off the causeway. Not to mention, if you keep going down Frederica, you're super close to Harris Teeter. There are 2 grocery stores here on the island. There's Harris Teeter, and then there's also Winn-Dixie, and when we were at that roundabout by Southern Soul, if you remember, that's where Winn-Dixie was. So you're kind of like smack in the middle of both grocery stores. Now you are still zoned St. Simon's Elementary, being in this neighborhood, and you know, this is the kind of neighborhood where, although there aren't sidewalks, commonly if you drive through this neighborhood, you'll see, you know, kids out riding bikes and families walking, people walking their dogs, and, you know, the mature trees and landscaping here and a little bit more privacy really gives this neighborhood just like, I can't really say that it's a family friendly neighborhood, but if you catch what I'm saying, it's just the vibe you get. And if you like the opportunity of having an older home that you can kind of fix up, you can definitely find that in this neighborhood. It's not a new construction neighborhood. It was not like all the trees haven't been bulldozed. There's still plenty of beautiful landscaping. So again, this is Shaw's Bounty. This is a great neighborhood, but like I said, as we were driving here, there are tons of neighborhoods very similar to this one up and down this road. El Dorado is another one. Harrison Point's down the road. There's tons, honestly, very similar to this one. So if this is kind of the price point you're looking in, or the vibe of a neighborhood that you want, definitely pause this video, reach out to me. Like I said, all my information's here on the screen. And so I hope this gave you a better idea. All right, so there you have it, a very quick tour of the south end and mid-south end of the island, and 2 very popular neighborhoods here. Like I said, there's not a short supply of neighborhoods. There's also homes not in neighborhoods, just up and down the street. So if you have questions regarding real estate here in the beautiful St. Simon's Island or Golden Isles area in general, I would love to speak with you. The truth is, there's no single best neighborhood, so you won't find a lot of information if you go searching like best neighborhood to live on St. Simon's Island. Actually, I have a tip for you. The best way to find out if you want the real, like, juicy, honest details, the things that some realtors, like, we cannot ethically say, you know, we're not allowed, we have to be very careful of steering and that kind of stuff. So there's certain things we cannot, you know, really bluntly say. Okay. So my best tip is, when you're moving to an area, is to go on Facebook, find that specific city's Facebook group. Here on St. Simon's Island, we have one, St. Simon's Island Moms, I think is what it is. There's another Golden Isles one. There's Brunswick ones. There's a ton of different ones. Go on there. You can actually search neighborhoods and see, because a lot of people have brought up like favorite neighborhoods and things like that. Let me tell you, the people love spilling like all the details. They will tell you why they love it, why they hate it, like what to be cautious of, and they don't have to hold their tongue. They can kind of just like say what they want. So that's my best tip for people moving to a new area. You know, if you want to be close to the beach and the restaurants and the island events, the South End might just be the perfect fit for you. I hope you got a better glimpse of the South End. And then if you're looking for a little bit more established in the residential scene, a little bit away, but still close enough to take advantage of all that St. Simon's has to answer, and you still want to be centrally located and close to the causeway, you know, then the Mid-South End might just be for you. So I hope this gave you a better look at those 2 island areas. Don't forget, stay tuned for next week, where we are going to go to the Mid-North End and the North End of the island, and I'm going to take you through 2 very popular neighborhoods over there. Like and subscribe this video, and I'll see you guys next week.